Okay, awesome, awesome. So, for you watching the replay of this, my name is Rodney Washington, and I help experts develop their content, their intellectual property, their ideas into published books and related income generating opportunities.
Hmm.
And I was just saying to Roxanne, who is a part of my Published Creator School community, that and the reason why I wanted to turn the camera on, I actually wasn't going to have the camera on for this part of the conversation, but I want to turn the camera on because what you're witnessing today is something that I highly, highly recommend that any content creator do in order to help to build up your, not just your audience. We focus a little bit, I think, too much on that, is on vanity metrics, so a lot of numbers, a lot of subscribers, a lot of followers, and all of that stuff. Where I definitely know where the opportunity is being missed is in understanding who's showing up and who's coming to us and where they are. So this last week, I published I do a weekly podcast on my Published Creator podcast, and I talk about why content creators are busy but broke. And basically, the core of that is that we get, because we hear it all the time, content, 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 make more content, make more content. But content to me is talking at people, whether it's video, podcast, audio, video, whether it's written, it's talking at people. What
Hmm.
I, that is valuable and it's important because you have to connect with people on some level. If they don't know you, they have to at least, see you. No one can say hello to you if you haven't entered the room. So by being able to at least show up that way, that's great. Now, what's typically happening is we're trying to go from a post to the shopping cart with no in between about, well, who are you? What do you have? It's like going into a restaurant and you say you're hungry, but you don't know what kind of food it is. Is it Italian, Mexican, Chinese, Japanese? You have no idea what kind of food it is. And so you've got to know what people are hungry for so that you know what to make. And this piece is something that I personally see overlooked a lot. So we're focusing on what we want to say and how we want to serve it without really asking people what they're literally are hungry for.
Hmm.
So what's happening here with this experience, if you're watching the replay of this, is what you're witnessing right now is what I highly recommend you start doing. This, what we're doing right now, is creating content. This isn't just a video I decide just to make. This is also content. So you're getting a chance to see me and how I support, the people that I work with, how I support them. And it's also helping, in this case, Roxanne, who's shown up to be with me today, to get clarity about where she's at, but more to the point about how she can approach the prospective people she wants to support and work with so that she can model what you're witnessing right now for, in this case, for herself and what you can model for yourself. So it's one of the main reasons why I created the Entrepreneur Decision program and book, because we have got to get out of this spray and pray and throw enough stuff against the wall and something's going to stick. It's like it doesn't, that's a long, you can do it that way, but I personally don't really relish having to clean the walls all the time. All the time. So I would rather know what you want and fix what you want and serve it to you in the way that you want, in a way that also works for me, than to just guess and guess and guess. I just did a post in my Instagram today, a carousel posting Instagram. And typically what most of us do is guessing. And one of my earlier mentors said to me, guessing is expensive. So why guess when you can just ask?
Hmm.
So that's why I wanted to do this. So what you're witnessing today is going to be a part of a regular weekly thing that I do. It's going to be an entrepreneur decision hot seat session. If you're watching this on YouTube, for an example, and you would like to participate and actually be in the hot seat, which I promise is safe, then I am going to have a link inside the description here to join my Skool community. There's only people that can participate this. with this is people who are in my published creator school community. And the only requirement that I have is that you have your camera on. So that, again, it's something I always say all the time is that as authors, entrepreneurs, people must see us. They do business with us, not the paper that we hold in our hand. So we need to be seen. And so that's the only requirement that I have. And like I said, it's safe. So what you're witnessing today is my first hot seat. And I want to start off today by thanking Roxanne for being with me today.
You
And
want?
yeah, take a minute and tell the listeners or tell the audience about yourself. And yeah, just tell them about yourself, and then I'll go right into the questions.
Okay. Well, my name's Roxanne, and I was born and raised mostly in Chicago, South Side. And I moved here where I'm at now. I live in Minnesota. I moved here in 92, and I have five adult children. I am a person who is very community minded. So I opened a community on Skool, and it started out with me like wanting to teach people cooking and things like that, but it got to be where it started to evolve, and then I figured I wanted to teach. So that's what I'm doing now. And I'm teaching and helping. I'm guiding vendors who are in some of their first vending experiences, or they've been vending for a while, to help them actually scale and think of their vending as a business rather than just a side hustle, and get to those points where they can scale their business to actually make a decent income, and find ways to collab together in order to meet those uh, those caps that they said that they can make as a vendor, as a cottage food producer in Minnesota.
Mhm.
It's one of my missions to help people actually reach those goals. So that's a little bit about me. Mhm.
Wonderful. All right, so let's go right. I have about four questions for you. Some of them you've already sort of answered, but I want to just kind of give you this sort of a guidepost for how I will be able to give you at least an idea about what you can do as your next step. So I know that you are working on a book. You are
Yeah.
following my entrepreneur decision sort of model, which is develop your book in conjunction with an audience, as
Mhm.
opposed to you going off and writing the book and then coming out with it one day and then offering it for sale, but actually being in conversation, which is the key thing. Operative word here is conversation with your ideal people who you are creating this book and this brand for. So, my first question I have for you, Roxanne, is what is your book or idea about?
My book or idea is about vendors across the US. This includes home cooks, it includes product vendors. Anybody can be a vendor, really. If you pay for a spot at an event and you sell your wares, whether it's food or products or whatever, services, that's vending.
Okay.
And there's this thing out here in Minnesota, it's really big. Vending is really big out here. They have whole Facebook pages where people are actually looking for vendors, and vendors go to look for events to be in. One of the issues that I have with this whole system of being a cottage food home producer, vendor, is that there are lots of events that are being held by people who want vendors to come in to, make their event really great. A lot of times people come because of the vendors to buy whatever it is they're selling, whether it's really good food or a clothes or whatever. And the conversation, thankfully, was is starting to open up, where I thought I was the only one who felt this or saw this happening, but I started to see people hosting these events, and before the event even starts, they've made thousands of dollars just from vendor fees. So vendors have to pay all this money to set up a 6 foot or 8 foot table, 10 foot table, whatever, to sell their wares. And a lot of vendors were getting weary about this ratio of how much they pay for the event uh, compared to what they actually would take home. And sometimes the events would end up in the, thousands of dollars for a spot. Um, but not everybody can afford those prices to vend and then try to make a profit as well. So I have a mission to get more vendors together. I'm focused a lot on women too, but I want to get a lot of vendors together to learn to collaborate, to learn how to work together and not just be an island,
Mm-hmm.
because it really is hard to make the amounts of income you want to make when you're just by yourself. I built a community where people can talk about these things and really have just a safe place where they can even vent if they need to about certain things that are happening. But it's a real issue. It's something that a lot of people don't think about, don't know about. But I've been living this life for more than 10 years now. And I feel like something people need to start speaking out about it. So this community that I'm in online, on another platform, somebody finally this past week said, I'm just going to be the person who says this out loud. Who in the world is like actually, making a profit while they're paying these high vendor fees at these events? And then the conversation just blew up and everybody was talking about it, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I was just talking about this yesterday about I wish other people would start talking about this. And so I reached out to the person who started the conversation, and she actually agreed to let me interview her to be a part of my book. So that's kind of what the book is about. I don't know exactly what it's going to totally evolve into, but I'm actually going to have a workbook attached inside this book as well. So the vendors won't just have something to read, but they'll have something that they can work through and come back to. If they have questions or anything like that, there'll be resources and things like that in there. So
Okay.
that's
Okay. Good. 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 That's a lot of good intel. Next question I have for you, Roxanne, is what are you, so I know you have your school community that you currently have, and I know that you are currently a vendor. So they're already feeling that alignment. The people that you're speaking with already feel that alignment with you because you are one, they look at you as one of them.
Mhm.
Would I be correct in saying that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
I look like a lot of vendors who started out here without a whole lot of money.
Okay.
Some vendors have trucks. They maybe have money already, or they want to have food trucks and things, but that's not the type of vendor I'm kind of
Okay.
speaking to, is more of the little guys.
Right. Now let me ask this question. Are people currently coming to you already, like other vendors coming to you asking questions already? Is that happening already?
Yeah, so most people are coming to me saying like, how do I get started? How do I get started like in becoming a home cook or somebody who wants to start at home, get their feet wet, figure out if it's what I really want to do. And so, since a lot of people are asking me how to get started and how do I get my licensing, what is cottage foods? I'm just surprised at how many people don't know what it is still, even
Hmm.
though it's been something that's been around for a long time, to give people a way to legally sell certain foods from their homes, and they don't feel like that they're sneaking around trying to sell things. And it's like, no, there's certain things you can do with your head held high and and
Hmm.
things like that. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Question I have this is for me for clarity. Is the cottage food different from vending? Like when I think vending, I think about a public space outdoors. Is this something different or one and the same?
What it is to be a vendor at a lot of these events out here, people are going to ask you if you have your cottage foods license.
Okay.
Um, it's against the law to make food from your home, like potentially non-hazardous foods, which is baked goods and jams and jellies, everything you find at the farmer's market without this license.
Hmm.
And a lot of people just don't even know that. So cottage foods is what you typically will be getting this license, which they're changing that soon to make it not even be a license. It's just some kind of, we'll let you do this type of, of paper or whatever. They're going to change it soon. But so right now it's a license and it is part of what a person who wants to sell baked goods and the like at any type of public event, they need that in order to do it. Because sometimes they come and they police the event, and they'll have somebody there who's official. Can I see your license? And if you don't have it, they could potentially tell you to go pack up and go home.
Okay.
And nobody wants that. So
Gotcha.
you get the license and then you start vending by going to all these different events. So they're two different things, but you need one to do the other for the most part.
Okay. Okay. Great. 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 Now, are you currently having conversations with, I know you said, let me back it up. How often are you having sort of interviews or like your facial interview type conversations with people who you want to serve with this product that you're making?
Well, right now I have like a sign up, like a web page where people can go to sign up for these interviews. I have two that are waiting for their interview dates, and I'm willing to take people up until I feel like I have enough interviews to kind of finish my book. And I also want to talk to hosts and some people from the Cottage Foods Administration to kind of get their side of what they believe they're doing for the cottage foods industry.
Hmm.
That's actually a whole chapter based on what's on their website and what they say they do for cottage food people.
Hmm.
And then it's kind of meshed with what I do as far as looking for equality and fair laws and things like that. And so that's one of my chapters already is that comparison of, not trying to bash them or anything, but because if it wasn't for them, a lot of the laws that are changed now wouldn't be changed. So there are actually some people who, had good intentions with this organization. But I want to be able to have all sides of, if you're a person who doesn't make much money and you're a vendor versus somebody who maybe was born into money and they vend, or somebody who's doing it and they feel like, oh, I'm just having fun. And
Hmm.
somebody who's doing it's like, I do this for a living. I do this to put food on my table. So
Hmm.
I've seen the gamut.
Hmm.
So I think it'll be really interesting with these interviews, what this book evolves into.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right. Okay, good. All right. So I'm going to think out loud for a second. So, first of all, what's definitely stands out for me is that this isn't just a book idea. The book is a part of what you will deliver, but it doesn't stop there, obviously. You did
Mhm.
mention a workbook. I definitely see some kind of a course or training, or 'cause like I said, school community, which you can totally monetize. Because if you're helping people make money, obviously you should be paid to help people make money. So
Right.
that has to be a part of this. Otherwise, you are basically reinforcing the mentality that it's out of integrity to want to charge money for something. In this case, the vendors making a living from selling their food, but they don't want to pay for education and support to run their business. So being able to have that kind of direct conversation, whatever ultimately whatever you decide this to be, um, one of the key questions that I definitely say to do in the informational interviews is, are you willing to pay? Are you willing to invest? And
Mhm.
if and see what comes back. I'm not gonna say if you hear this, do this, but that needs to be a question that you need to be asking in the interviews that you're doing.
Mm,
Because again, you could have all of the passion in the world for this audience, but if they're not willing to or able to invest in
right.
their business, not in themselves, but in their business, which is the same thing, then you're going to have a decision you're going to need to make about moving forward with this. This is coming up for me as I'm listening to you talk. So I'm
Mhm.
not saying that this won't work. I'm saying that that has to be a question you can't be afraid to ask
Right.
in the
And I'm
interviews.
going to, because I remember that this is more like testing grounds too,
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
see if I want to continue writing the book.
Hmm.
And I feel like if it comes about that people just are not interested or they feel like, oh, nah, this isn't something I want to, that I
Hmm.
feel like that passionate about
Hmm.
trying to change these laws or whatever. But I know there are people out here trying to change the laws that I've been following for 10 years. So hopefully, hopefully this will be something that pans out and I'll
Hmm.
start meeting those people who are already out here. I already have one person who has been writing like he started a blog a long time, like 12 years ago. And I talked to him recently, and now he's starting something else because it's about tracking cottage foods throughout the states. And he updates people through email and he was interviewing people as well. So I
Okay.
know it's a thing. It's just
Hmm.
if it's not in your if it's not something you haven't heard of or it's not on your radar, you're gonna be like, what are you talking about? But I know there's plenty of people out there who are interested in this subject. So hopefully it'll be something that will turn into a nice, book to read that'll help the laws to change and help people to have a different mindset about vending.
Gotcha.
That it can be a business, it can be a thriving business, and it
Gotcha.
can be a collaboration with people who you never thought you'd meet.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
yeah,
Well, definitely what's coming up for me, and I'm glad that you mentioned this gentleman's, this person that you just mentioned a moment ago, because what I was sensing as you were talking, and this could be, if you are really passionate about helping this audience of the, no, but this audience or this demographic, if you will, if you're really
mhm,
passionate about that, and let's just say, and I don't know this for certain, you will find this out as you keep doing your interviews,
yeah,
that they want it, they see a need for it, but because now again, the I don't have the money thing is also a mindset thing. I mean,
mm,
that's,
mhm,
people will come up with the money for what they really want.
right,
They'll find a way to pay for whatever it is that they really, really want. So I don't necessarily want to go, I don't have any money, as that's a blanket easy excuse that everyone wants to try to give, especially when they value their money more than their time.
right,
So that's a whole other conversation. But what I was coming up for me as you were talking, even before we even got to this point of it, is that I see for you a partnership play. So what I mean by that is that you aligning yourself with people like this gentleman you just mentioned a moment ago. I even thought about suppliers. I wrote that down in my notes.
okay,
Suppliers could possibly be a partnership play. So, what could happen is obviously the suppliers want to continue to have the vendors to keep buying their supplies. In order for them to keep buying the supplies, they
mhm,
need people who are successful because if they're not out there, if they're out of business because they're not buying supplies, then those suppliers have to find someone else to buy the supplies.
right,
So what came up for me is potential collaborative partnership arrangements with suppliers that perhaps may underwrite a program, which means basically they pay you and then you supply the educational tools, the book or what have you as a part. If money is really like if someone says to you on an informational interview calls, Roxanne, I really, really find value in what you're saying. I really believe in what you're doing. I know I need support with this, but funds are really tight for me. Like I'm watching every penny that I spend. And then you know in your heart, though, that and you feel is it not in your heart, is your calling that you really want to help these people, then it may not necessarily be that they are the ones necessarily paying you, but it could be the people who they are um, going to already get the supplies, because I can promise you this, the suppliers aren't giving them the supplies based on, like I'm being kind of cheeky right now, but it's not a wimpy thing from Popeye. I'll pay you next Tuesday for a hamburger today. No one's doing that. So if they're giving you the supplies, they're expecting payment, immediately.
Yeah.
So that could be the play. A part I would really look into partnership plays, because, and this is the second reason why I want to bring this up, is because if we're focusing on in this case, the
Hmm.
people who are doing the business and they're watching every penny, they may just see in the beginning is this as an expense, but not necessarily, especially if they've gotten used to quote unquote winging it themselves. But they do need the education, they do need the support.
Yeah.
So perhaps by collaborating or aligning yourself with people,
Hmm.
companies, organizations, suppliers in this case, then that also adds to your credibility, because they look at it like, oh, she's partnered up with them. So it adds on a layer of credibility for you as
Yeah.
well, a cachet for you. And that too could also help. A lot of times what people say about us carries more weight than what we say about ourselves.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
aligning yourself with possibly, I'm just saying, the suppliers or this other gentleman that you mentioned a moment ago, or what have you, or anything along those lines, hooking your wagon to their train could
Mhm.
pull you along with them, and then give you that much needed credibility piece that would then, because once people see, oh, she's legit,
Mhm.
then the money thing that they may be saying in the beginning may not be some way. Well, you'll know it's not the issue, because it's like, oh, I really need that book, or I really need that course, or I really
Yeah.
need your school community. So that's just, one of the things that came up for me as you were talking.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned all that.
Mhm.
Because just today, just in the last hour, I don't know if I mentioned the Capri Theater to you. This is a theater, one of the last old theaters in Minneapolis. I think there used to be 24 of them, and there's probably two or three left now.
Mhm.
And so they got a new director,
Mhm.
and they are starting to just flourish with all um the activities and the things they have for youth. They have a youth program.
Mhm.
They have like every first Thursday, like tonight at 7 p.m., they're going to have a movie tonight for $5 that you can go see in the theater. And they have these Capri camps on Saturdays. And just in the last hour, I was just told that I could come and I can make food for the kids on Saturday. And then next Saturday, I can teach and provide and help, make food with them. And so we're working all that out. And I'm just really excited about that. I told them about my book and about how I help vendors, and they work with vendors as well. Because as a matter of fact, the last vending event I was in, a part of, was at the Capri Theater. And so they have, I'm sure, a long list of vendors that they work with. And then they have the youth. So that just kind of two birds right there. It's like
Yes.
I would say I didn't expect this to happen this week, but I made some decisions and I was like, just call them and see where you can fit in. And they were like, yes, we have somewhere where you could fit in. And if you could teach the kids about cottage foods, because last time I was like, it didn't work out. And I was like, I had a curriculum then. I was like, yeah, let me pull it out and I'll teach the kids about cottage foods because she didn't even know what it was. So, um, Yeah, so that's what I'm starting to do because you already, I took some of your earlier advice about that. So I'm serious about this and I have been going ever since we had our last talk and implementing what it is that you've been teaching me. So I thank you for that.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, and I'll just wrap it with this is that, first of all, thank you so much for agreeing to do this with me today. And I know that, we've been talking before, but I also wanted to demonstrate with this new series that I'm doing, that we get too close to it. We spend a lot of time working on whatever we're working on, and we get too close to it. And it's hard for us to see things objectively because we're so close to it. So I'm a huge, huge proponent of collaborative conversations, someone that's outside of us that can
Mhm,
see things from a different perspective. And I'll just say it, I have a gift for listening to people and
mhm,
hearing things that, again, because it's not me, it's not my book, it's not my brand, it's not my message, it's not my audience. So I don't have any skin in the game in that respect. So,
mhm,
and so by being able to have that sort of distance from it, things come up for me.
mhm,
And when you were talking, I definitely was hearing the audience and the challenges that they have, which is again why this is so important to have regular conversations with the people that you're serving and being able to understand where they are, but not just understand where they are, but hear what they're saying,
mhm,
because when we hear what they're saying, guess what gets to happen? We get to use that verbiage back at them in our messaging.
mhm,
Because this goes back to the whole content creation piece that I talked
mhm.
about this week on the podcast. If the content is not connecting, if the content is not connecting, then it gets glossed over.
Right.
So we can have all these great ideas, but again, your best content will always come. And when I say content, I mean not just social media posts, but content is your book. Content is what you verbally say when you're talking to people. Your content is your school community. Your content is your courses. Your content is whatever spin-off products. Your content is when you're talking to suppliers, vendors, whatever. That's your content. We are the content, not what we post.
Mhm,
And what's going on, what I feel is that we are so caught up in, oh, I got to post something today. I got to post something today. It's like going, well, wait a minute. Don't just post to be posting.
right.
But
You got
what are you posting? What are you saying? And so when you said earlier, I wrote this in my notes, you said that someone asked, who's making money from with these high vendor fees? That what she said
mhm,
is an article.
mhm.
That what she said,
The whole thread is like a little pamphlet or something. Like they
yeah,
just went off in that thread. Just everybody started just because she opened the door to the
that's
conversation
it.
that nobody wanted to say out loud.
That's it.
It's
That's
like
it.
they're charging us too much for these
Yeah.
spaces, a space,
Yes.
to sell
Yes.
our stuff to make their event amazing. So
Yes.
to me, I feel like they should be paying the vendors to come. Hey,
Hello. But you see, but the thing about, okay, so just take that one piece, Roxanne. Is there
yeah.
anyone listening to this? If you, especially, and this is a coaching moment, especially when there's heat around it, when people get, excuse my French, when people get PO'd
Mhm.
about something, pay attention to that.
Yeah,
Pay
yeah,
attention to that. Because people will tend to move faster on something that upsets them that things unnecessarily makes them happy.
yeah,
It's both, but they will move faster on with anger.
yeah,
And so if something is really like, I don't like this at all, and I'm trying to make a living, and this is da 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 da.
Mhm.
Okay, so now when you address that as the expert, guess what? They're now zeroing in on you because you've blown the dog whistle
Mhm.
and their all ears are perked up and they're
Mhm.
paying attention to you now and they're like, she understands us, she gets us. What else does she have to say?
I
And
also
so,
noticed in that thread that the difference between how many women were posting and what they were saying versus the two men that were posting and what they were saying. The
mhm.
men were like, "Oh, I'm doing great." Women
Ah,
were like,
okay,
"Uh-huh, I wish,
okay.
I
So
thought
that's
that was really interesting. It was like 30 something women and two men. And yeah, I just thought that was really, really interesting.
okay.
And we
So
won't get
again, what
into,
I'm gonna say
sorry
again.
about you, but we won't get into, you know, people groups and all that kind of stuff right now. But it's just like it was a big stark difference. And I
Mhm,
just sat and looked at that thread and I was like, I think there's some, I got some here. Like this is a
mhm,
thing,
mhm,
So,
mhm, mhm.
yeah, now the conversation is there and people are talking about it. So,
Exactly, exactly. So again, as you're listening to this, the replay for you, Roxanne, here in person, that the mindset shift starts to happen where you don't ever, none of us have to ever ask, what should I make something about? What should my content be about? We never have to ask those questions. All we've got to do is go ask the people or listen to the people who are already out there complaining about something, frustrated about something, talking about something, whatever the situation may be. And then we address that in whatever form it needs to take, whether it be a video, an audio, a written piece. I recommend all three if you can, because people have different learning modalities that they like to, that they tend to gravitate more, or it could be more images. Like I said, I just posted an Instagram post today where so I did my podcast episode, which was on YouTube. I didn't do an audio iteration because it was too long. It's almost 2 hours. But I did do that, and then I did an article on LinkedIn, and then today I did a carousel post, which is on Instagram. I posted the link inside the Skool community. As a matter of fact, if I'll share my screen really fast. Oh, hey, Michelle. Um, let's see here. Let me post it really. I'll show you really quickly. But if you go over to the Skool community, and I'll put the link inside the description. If we go over to the Skool community here, ready for the hot seat, I think is where it's here right now, or did I post it somewhere else? Let me find it here really fast. I know I just did it. Here we go. Okay. So this is something I just posted today. It's like an hour or so before the call. So I'm now trying, again, having another layer because I know that people learn different ways. So this is like what's called a carousel post. So you just kind of go through it and it's like basically it's 19 images. But I just took short, condensed hot points from the longer article and just did it this way. So what I'm saying is that if we meet people where they are, whether they're more visual, whether they like to read, whether they prefer to watch and or listen, and then if they're able to connect with us this way, not just me, but they're able to connect with us that way, again, we're just trying to find that first connection point.
mhm,
And this is just online. Now, there's still other ways to do it offline. So I'm not saying to do all of this online. But I'm saying that we first have got to tap into what the problem is, what the concern, what the issue is. We have to tap into that first. That's first
mhm,
and paramount.
mhm,
That's the reason why this particular video post, all of that talks about the connection piece and talks about one-on-one conversations.
mhm,
So the more that you can implement that as a regular part of what you do, not just when you're launching something,
mhm,
but a regular part of what you do, you will always have your finger on the pulse of where your audience is and what's happening for them. So
mhm,
then because everything to me is about getting clear about that and then repurposing and repackaging what we create.
Mhm.
So that article that I wrote could be a chapter in my book,
Mhm.
or as the new idea that I'm going to be coming out with in the next month is my newspaper.
Mhm.
I can then link to that. I can put a link into that to the YouTube video, or
Mhm.
I can have them connect with me on Instagram, or I can have an invite to work with me another layer. So, alrighty, Michelle. So anyway, so this is just a sampling of what will happen inside my Authorpreneur Incubator program, which I'm going to be launching soon. And if you're interested in learning more about that, I have a link in the description to an assessment, an entrepreneur readiness assessment. It's a series of questions that I ask just to get clarity for yourself and clarity for me about where you are on your journey. And if it's a right fit, then you will get an invitation to an invitation for a conversation. Should say it's an invitation for a conversation about your participation in the group experience. It will be a group experience. It's not going to be one-on-one. It'll be a group experience. I'm keeping it around 10 people maximum. I'm right now looking at launching it in 30 days, but it might be a little bit longer than that. I'm not quite sure yet. But again, it depends upon who shows up. But the point is what you're witnessing right now, what you're looking at me do right now, is a core foundational tenet of what I recommend or coach about everyone who participates in this program to do. What I have seen over and over and over and over and over and over again is that we go off, we write our book, we spend all this time working on this or creating this course or whatever it is that we do, and we've told no one about it. We have no email list. We have nothing set up. We just come out with the book one day or the course one day, and we do a couple of random posts on social and just go, hey, come over and go check out my thing, and then get disappointed because no one is clicking and no one's buying. Well, no one's clicking and no one's buying because they don't know who you are. And you've not said anything about this. So, opportunities like what you're seeing right now is what you will be doing in the program. You will be doing calls like this. You will have your camera on. You will let people see you. You will, I would say for you, Roxanne, is do something like this and invite some of those people to come and do a call with you like this. The one thing I will say, even if it's not a group experience, do I implore you to do record, ask permission, of course, but record the conversation
Mhm.
because you're not going to be able to keep up with everything they're saying.
Mhm.
So having it recorded, you can go back and listen to it. You can get it transcribed. I know with Zoom, you can have up to, I think, 40 minutes for free. So it doesn't have to be, and it shouldn't be a long call. It shouldn't really be more than 20 minutes, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
Um, I meant for this to be 20 minutes between you and I, but you and I are the only people here today. So we took up we took up the time, which is totally fine with me. But when more people come on this, I'll have to keep it to a solid 20 minutes per person. And I want to do up to at least three people. So it depends on who shows up. If it's two people, then it's 30 minutes each. But the point I want to make is being able to have these kinds of actual conversations is going to feed you in ways beyond
Mhm.
you guessing, trying to figure it out on your own, or spending all this time working on something and just it just not landing.
Mhm.
More to the point, too, what I believe for us as entrepreneurs, which is hence why I'm creating the book, The Entrepreneur Decision, is that some of these vendors that you're speaking with, Roxanne, could become featured in your book.
Mhm.
And so that opens up an opportunity for them that they might look at and go, oh, because guess what that does?
Mhm.
Then that gets people learn more about what they've got going on. So that's what I'm saying. You don't want to build the book first and then go try to sell it. You want to have people in your case, if it's the right fit, go, I'm featured in her book. Well, guess what? Then they're going to be out there talking about it. They're
Mm-hmm.
going to be out there, and of course, invitations to your other programs and things like that you have. So there is a reason why I titled the book The Entrepreneur Decision: Stop Chasing Single Copy Sales and Start Building a Book Brand That Pays for Life. Get paid while you build your book. There's a reason why I'm designing this book this way, because I know for a fact that it does work if you work it.
Right.
It does work if you work it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a different way of thinking. I've always said think differently.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are committed to what you're doing, it will come together, and it'll come together in a way that people already will look at you because you're positioning yourself as an ally, not just someone out there just whipping something up and throwing
Mm-hmm.
it up on Amazon to make a couple of bucks.
Mm-hmm.
When you're out there, sleeves rolled up, boots on the ground
Mm-hmm.
with the people that you're here to serve, they will not only support you in kind, but they'll evangelize you. And
Mm-hmm.
that's going to bring in more opportunity to you without you having to do so much heavy lifting. As I
Right.
said earlier, what people say about us a lot of times carries more weight than what we say about ourselves in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
So your reputation, your passion, your just who you are as a person will always carry you over, even when the quote unquote sales aren't there. You're building up that level of trust.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when people come to you, you don't have to go talk them into anything. They're like, okay, how do I buy it?
Right.
How do I get it? And
Right.
I know this for a fact. I'm not making it up. I'm not what I read in someone else's book. I'm telling you what I live. I have people that are saying, I'm going to work with you. I know I am. So to me, I just like that so much better than if I'm out there, hustling with flyers or whatever. Nothing wrong with that, but it just to me, I don't want to have to talk somebody into something,
Right. No, I totally get that.
you know.
I like doing it this way because when people get to know you, like you said, I kind of said that to you too. It's like I want to work with you, so
Hmm.
I'm gonna
Hmm.
do what it takes to do that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so with that said, what I'll do is I'll just pop the link to the assessment inside of this is for you all if you listen to the replay. I'll pop the link to the assessment on the YouTube channel. I'll also pop it in the Skool community. And keep in mind, I'm going to be doing this. This is something I'm going to test drive this every week for at least the next, I'm going to say 2 months to 90 days. And so I'm trying to, I don't have a set time for it every week. I want to do it later. Typically, I do things during the day, but
Mhm.
I'm trying to find that sweet spot where people can actually come and participate. So I may vary up the times every other week. Maybe I'll do two in the morning, afternoon, and then two in the evening each month. And just kind of see who shows up. If you're watching this and you found value in it and you want to know about when I do the next one, you join the Skool community, the Published Creator Skool community. I'll have the link in the description. And I always will pop in the calendar. Actually, I'll share the screen right now so you all can see it, since we're already here talking about it. Let's see here. Let's go over to screen share. All right. So, yeah, you can join the Skool community. And right here is the calendar. And when I do these events, I will just pop. I mean, I don't have anything else scheduled right now, but I'm going to be adding these on. So you'll get the link, and right there'll be a link to join me on Zoom. Like I said, I do weekly podcast. In addition to, I'm going to be doing at least once a month, possibly twice a month, the Entrepreneur Decision Masterclass, which Roxanne has been to a couple of them. If you don't mind, Roxanne, could you tell people a little bit about the masterclass experiences that you come to of mine that I've done and what your thoughts were about it?
Yeah, so I really like how you explain this new way of doing this. It's very non-traditional. And then, like you told us, you gave us examples of different people that you have helped who have actually published their books. That was very encouraging to me. I knew some of those people. And one of them, Nicole, she's the one who introduced me to you. She referred me to you. So that felt like, really inspiring. Like, this is legit. This is where I need to be. I've always wanted to write a book. And then when you taught us the authority flywheel, that was really, I like that a lot. It's literally on my wall in front of me. I
Wonderful.
printed it out and put it on my wall. So I always see the eight and the different areas where we're at. So right now I'm trying to be known, and I'm going to these like going to this theater where they have these camps and things for youth, and I'm, like you say, boots on the ground. I'm doing my best to be involved in the community and be around these same people who are like me. And before these youth get out into the vending world, which a lot of them want to do, I want to be able to guide them and give them some advice about things to look out for and, things that they can advocate for themselves for. So, yeah, so I really, even though you might mention some of the same things, I always come out realizing something different, something new that I missed the last time. So it's very beneficial to go to your your live workshops like more than once.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Thank you so much for
I'm very
saying
grateful.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a core marketing strategy that I always tell everyone. I'm sure Roxanne knows what I'm getting ready to say, so I'll say it again, as I say it all the time, because it's just the truth. We live in a noisy world with a lot of things coming at us all at the same time, and we say something or put something out there, and we assume that people hear it and get it, and they adapt it or adopt it.
Mhm.
And no one is sitting around always thinking about us because they have their own lives and everything that they're doing. So my core marketing philosophy is always tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. And you do it over and over and over and over again because people are not always in the space to hear what you said, or they don't have the time, or they're just not ready. But if they keep hearing it, and I know for us, it can get trite and become like, well, I've already said that already. It's like that. I've already put that out there. It's like going, no one's no one's paying attention to us like that all the time. They just aren't. Anything can come along in life that will take their attention away like that. So if we don't keep repeating what we're saying,
Mhm.
then they miss out because when they're ready, like they say, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear.
Mhm.
And sometimes the things that we say over and 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 over again that's not landing, or it's just not connecting. It's not that it's not landing. It's just not done that like little turnover just yet. It hasn't quite switched on just yet. And then
Mhm.
someone else, maybe someone random, says something, the same thing that we've been saying over and over again. And then what happens is the brain kicks in and goes, oh, I've heard that.
Yeah.
So it is a long-term play, but it works that way because of mobile devices and this, that, and the third, and we've got all these things going on in the car, and we're
Mhm.
raising families, and we've got things going on. People just aren't paying attention to us like that all the time,
Mhm.
but they are watching, they are listening, something is seeping through.
Mhm.
And so we need to be ready when they're ready for us. So that's why I'm always saying don't feel like you're being redundant, and don't feel like, well, I've already told you that. It's like I can tell somebody something right now, and within 2 minutes that has come out of my mouth. Then what did you say again? That's how I came up with that's how I came up with that. So I always tell them what you're going to tell them, set it up, tell them, and then tell them what you told them. That's the recap.
I love that.
And you keep doing that, eventually, when it's time for the right people, they will go, I've been watching you for a minute now. I'm ready for you.
Mhm.
What you got? So I know it can feel redundant. I know it can feel like, like I don't know why I keep saying this. I don't know how many times I've said this, and I don't know why you're not getting it, but it's like it's not about that. It's don't take it personal. We just have a lot going on.
Hmm.
We have a lot going on. So when we're ready, when they're ready, we're ready.
Right.
We're ready. So all righty. Well, I want to keep these two also to a tight hour. So thank you so much, Roxanne. I really appreciate you
You're
being my
welcome.
first hot seat participant. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And again, if you're watching the replay again to find out when I do these again, I'll always announce them. But I am basically exclusively offering this to people, members of my school community, published trader school community. I will put the link in the description there, join that, and then that way you'll always be abreast of when I do it again. And then, like I said, once a month, at least twice a month, I'm going to be doing the Entrepreneur Decision Masterclass. So this last one I did was on the conversation around content creation. And I'm going to keep talking about that again too, because that's also a lot about how we are going to, well, it's the core of how we're going to get people to even join anything we do, including buying our book. But when I say content, I do not mean just social media.
Mhm.
So I want to expand that definition because a lot of people hear that word and they think, oh, it's what we post on YouTube, podcasts, and articles. No. We are the content. Every time we open our mouth and we're talking about what we're doing, we're sharing content.
Mhm.
So if we take that definition, identity definition on, it's going to make us be a lot more prolific in what we're doing and what we're saying.
Mhm.
All righty. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you again, Roxanne, for being with me today. And I'll see you on the next Entrepreneur Decision Room hot seat. Come get in the hot seat. It's safe. I don't bite.